This message is not reaching you by accident. You did not arrive here randomly. Something inside you felt the need to listen, even if you could not fully explain why. Sometimes God speaks in quiet ways, through a moment of stillness, through a message that appears at the exact time your heart is searching for clarity. And today, there is something important you need to hear, because something has already begun to change in your financial life. It may not be obvious yet. You may not see the full picture right now, but something has shifted. And before that change becomes visible around you, God wants you to understand what has been happening beneath the surface. For a long time, your mind has carried questions about stability. You may have faced seasons where money seemed to come and go too quickly, moments where progress felt slow, even though you were trying your best to be responsible. You worked hard, you tried to make wise decisions, you adjusted your plans again and again. But sometimes it felt like every step forward came with an unexpected setback, a bill you did not anticipate, an opportunity that disappeared, a plan that did not unfold the way you hoped. And the hardest part was often the silence, the quiet moments when you wondered if things would ever truly become easier. You may have prayed for guidance, you may have asked God for clarity, and at times you may have wondered if your prayers were even being heard. But there is something you must understand. God has been paying attention to every step you have taken, every moment of patience, every time you chose responsibility instead of impulse, every decision where you tried to act with integrity even when the situation felt difficult. Nothing about this journey has been invisible to Him, because sometimes the most important changes in your life begin in places you cannot immediately see. When people think about financial change, they often imagine sudden breakthroughs, an unexpected opportunity, a dramatic shift that instantly removes every pressure. But the way God often works is quieter than that. He begins by changing the person before changing the circumstances. He shapes the way you think. He refines your discipline. He strengthens your patience. And slowly, those inner changes begin to transform the direction of your life. The season you've been walking through was not meaningless. It has been shaping your awareness, teaching you to think differently about money, helping you recognize what truly creates stability. Perhaps you have become more intentional with your decisions, more careful with your habits, more aware of the difference between temporary comfort and long-term peace. These are not small changes. They are the foundation for something greater, because true prosperity cannot grow in chaos. It grows where wisdom and discipline are present, and that is exactly what God has been developing within you. Now something new is beginning. The shift may feel subtle at first,
but it is real. You may notice that your thinking is becoming clearer. Situations that once caused anxiety may now feel easier to manage. Instead of reacting with fear, you may begin responding with calm decision-making. This is not accidental. When God prepares someone for a new season, He first changes their perspective, because the way you think determines the direction you move. New opportunities often appear when your mind becomes ready to recognize them. Ideas that once felt uncertain begin to feel possible. Paths that once seemed closed begin to reveal small openings. And slowly, the cycle that once felt exhausting begins to lose its power. This is how real change begins. Not with noise, but with clarity. Not with pressure, but with alignment. And sometimes the greatest evidence of transformation is the calm confidence growing inside you. You may also begin to understand certain moments from your past in a different way. There were doors that closed in your life, opportunities that seemed promising but suddenly disappeared, plans that once felt certain but never materialized. At the time, those moments may have felt frustrating. You may have wondered why something you worked toward did not succeed. But sometimes God closes doors because He can see what lies beyond them. He sees consequences that are invisible to us. He sees environments that might drain your peace. He sees situations that could bring temporary gain but long-term stress. And because His vision is wider than ours, He sometimes redirects our path in ways we do not understand immediately. A closed door is not always rejection. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is redirection. Sometimes it is the quiet guidance that moves you towards something more aligned with the life you were meant to build. When you look back, you may begin to notice that certain delays protected you from complications you could not see at the time. Certain changes may have prevented paths that would not have brought lasting peace. And now, because of those redirections, you are standing at the beginning of a different season. The change that has begun in your finances will not be defined by chaos or sudden pressure. It will be defined by stability. The path ahead will encourage wiser habits, clearer decisions, a stronger sense of stewardship over the resources that come into your life. Instead of feeling controlled by financial uncertainty, you will begin to experience more balance, more awareness, more confidence in the direction you are taking. Opportunities will appear in ways that feel natural rather than forced. Progress will begin to feel steadier, and the discipline you develop during difficult seasons will now become one of your greatest strengths. Because God does not only want to provide for you, He wants to prepare you to manage that provision wisely. Prosperity that arrives without wisdom often disappears quickly.
But prosperity built on discipline, patience, and clarity creates lasting stability. That is the kind of change that is beginning in your life. And while the full picture may not be visible yet, the foundation has already been laid. The person you are becoming now is capable of building something stronger than before. So take a moment to reflect honestly. During the financial challenges you have faced, what lesson has shaped you the most? Was it patience? Was it learning to slow down and think more carefully about your decisions? Was it learning to trust God even when the future felt uncertain? Or perhaps it was discovering strength you did not realize you had. Your answer matters because those lessons are not separate from your future. They are preparing you for it. If you feel comfortable, share your reflection in the comments. Your experience may help someone else who is walking through a similar season. And if this message speaks to your heart today, write one simple word in the comments: change. Not as a declaration of instant results, but as a quiet acknowledgement that something new has begun. Sometimes one word is enough to remind your spirit that you are moving forward. As you continue your journey, remember this: your life is not defined by the hardest season you experienced. Seasons change, paths evolve, and God continues guiding your steps even when you cannot see the entire road ahead. The struggles you faced were not meaningless. They were shaping your character, strengthening your discipline, preparing your mind and heart for a more stable future. So move forward calmly. Continue making wise decisions. Continue trusting the lessons you have learned, and allow the changes unfolding in your life to grow steadily, because something has already begun to shift. And the same God who guided you through seasons of uncertainty is now guiding you toward greater stability, clarity, and peace. Your story is still unfolding, and the path ahead is being prepared, one step at a time.